And just like that, we're live. Hey, what's up, YouTube? It's Logan, Metal and Beer Snob, on a solo endeavor. Just just me, myself, and I tonight, in an effort to wrap up um, the year in my eyes of 2024. So, truthfully, this is like a pointless, unnecessary stream. I've already done multiple year-end lists, and honestly, I've been absolutely lucky this year to be a part of some great panels and some great streams. Like the heavy metallurgy stream was phenomenal. Was absolute blast. We talked about our 10 favorite albums of the year, and then just last Saturday, gas mask and hand grenades, a phenomenal, epic in length and in coverage and in everything kind of stream. And I mean that included just everyone and their uncle. Basically, it was a full roster. And let's see who we got tonight. We got Mr. Overkill. What's up? And also Tyler, who is another veteran of the end of year stream on Jeff's channel. What's up, guys? Cheers. If you saw any of these streams, a lot of this stuff is going to be unnecessary. And at this point in year-end list season, we've basically gone over everything. There's no need for any of this. You don't need to hear what my 30 favorite albums are of the year. But I want to do it. I kind of want to have it in one place, for myself and really for anyone else who's interested, and kind of just for the channel too, because I think these year-end videos are important for channels to kind of build and really show, what they liked in the year. And I think it's a good way to get views, because I mean, every year at the end of the year, all these lists and stuff do pretty good in the viewership counts. And so also I kind of just want one more chance to talk about all these albums that I loved on my home turf, and include some extra ones that are like more of the digital stuff that I wasn't able to talk about. And Tyler, I'm with you, man. It was a fun one. It was a fun one. I'm still diving through all of your black metal picks, man. So far, so far it's been good. Between you and Peter, the Metal Vault, I've been inundated with some crazy black metal. Kellen too had some good picks. Ungfell. That was the band I was trying to remember. That I've been enjoying that the most, I think, of your pulls. But yeah, so I wanted to just quickly list my 30 albums, since I've already done this before. Where I'm going to try to blast through it. I got some honorable mentions, and of course, I got a beer. But it's a work night, and I've been going to bed at like 10:30 these days, trying to wake up at like fucking 6. I don't know why. So we're keeping it light. We're keeping it shitty. Keeping it Pabst Blue Ribbon. Heineken. Fuck that shit. Tyler, you drinking? Cheers, guys. Anyone who's interested in watching. Honestly, the fact that there could be 7 people is impressive to me. So, yeah. Also, since I'm on my home turf, I am playing something in the background. It's not really much of music. It's a variation of a tone. Let me know if you can hear it, and if it's too loud. This is Boris's debut album, Absolute Go. Like, literally right now, it's just been slowly building up. Just this static and reverb. It just sounds like warm orange amplifiers right now. And I figured it would be good, good backdrop music. Nothing that is gonna take away from the stream too much, but something I can actually enjoy. And it's over an hour long of just one song, like Dope Smoker Eat Your Heart Out, basically. So this will be sludging away in the backdrop. So the goal for tonight is to kind of be done in like an hour and a half. Let's see if I can do it. I'm setting the timer. Let's by 10:30. Uh, just one, Tyler. Just one, man. I'm just having one. So just one. So first, before I dive into the actual top 30 list, I want to just go through some honorable mentions that I really enjoyed throughout the year and had a blast listening to. But for whatever reason, I just didn't click with them enough to be like, this is a number ranking. I can put them here. I can put them there. And they ended up falling off towards the end, and being like one of those. Oh shit, you know, Mike, what's up, man? Good to see some Discord server guys here. Heavy Metallurgy Discord server. It's where it's at. Join if you haven't. First honorable mention: Freeways, Dark Sky Sanctuary. This is some Dying Victims production, like new wave of traditional heavy metal, if you even want to call it that. I mean, this is like borderline. Thank you, Tyler. Spreading. I was actually trying to be incognito. I was like, they don't need to see another, uh, year-end stream of me. But hey, I appreciate it. But no, Freeways, man. First honorable mention. Fun stuff. Real like it's kind of dark sounding, but it's definitely not quite metal, and I think maybe that's why I didn't end up picking it up or including it on the year-end list. Um, Gotta say the title track is awesome. Forever Protected, the opening song, is great too. So definitely recommend that one if you can. Let's move on to the next honorable mention. We're gonna try to knock these out pretty quick. Let's see. The next up, it's a bit more of a straightforward, just sludge, almost hardcore attack. This is Eye Flies out of Philadelphia, Pennsylvania. Look at that album artwork. Talk about I think we got some trepanation going on. Uh, this is just a kind of vicious, simplistic slab of hardcore tinged sludge tinged hardcore. It's kind of a blast. Tracks like Trepanation Summer, What's that behind your ear, and Banana Arky Zoo. It's just fun, lightly pissed off stuff. So honorable mention number 2. Let's keep rolling. Honorable mention number 3. We're getting into some actual death metal territory here. Something a bit more demented and almost closer to the brutal death metal stuff. We've got Raptures of Psychopathy. And this is by Stages of Decomposition. Look at that nasty fucking album artwork. We got Ryan. Cheers, Ryan. Good to see you, man. Another survivor of the gas mask and hand grenades stream. Cheers. Or not. It was a great time. I'm sorry. I'm getting myself in trouble. Yeah, this album is every year there. I want some like brutal slamming death metal with like bass drops aplenty that really just pulverizes your brain. You don't really have to think that much, and this is Stages of Decomposition. They do some great samples too. Some great clips from serial killer movies or TV shows or who knows where. But it definitely helps to set the mood. This is just fun shit. I'm glad Mike is a fan of that Freeways. I actually figured that might be up your alley, man. It's a good one. So there we go. Honorable mention number 3. From there, we're going into my wheelhouse. This is some like visceral sludge, something a bit more just pissed off. Toad Liquor. Love the band name, Toad Liquor, and love the album artwork. That's it's honestly kind of off-putting overall. Like I don't know what this like squirrel is in the background and what this is. And I don't know. This is maybe what growing up today is like for the kids. Just a bunch of technology shoved everywhere. But think like Noothgrush, think just very harsh, dystopia style, like sludge, like almost extreme metal in a sense. They do have quite the penchant for some off-kilter melodies in here too, and yeah, crazy vocals. Check out track 4 in gold if you get the chance. And then finally, for my honorable mentions, and this one actually did make the stream on gas masking hand grenades. It got a couple mentions, I think. This is my favorite, probably one of my favorite thrash metal albums of last year. Maybe it might have been my favorite. I don't think I heard too much in the vein of thrash that really hooked me, but this is Lower Form Resistance by Dissimulator, and this is a $20 spin band out of Canada. And of course, I would use thrash a little lightly because it's a little progressive. It's got some death metal in there. The riffs, when they can either choose to be like extremely technical, like Voivodian, or they can be pulverizing, make me think of Revocation style riffs. And there's a little bit of like cynic vocoder action in here. So this one really should be on my list. I don't know why. It just it missed the cut barely, and it was probably because whenever I tried to price the CD, it was always like $20, and sorry, $20 spin, not for the CD. But there you go, the 5 honorable mentions. And yeah, Ryan, I did. It's a bit blurry to me, so it feels like I only did 12, but I promise I did 20, 24. But for tonight, we're doing 30. So there's a couple more albums that I was able to sneak in here. Some digital that I just haven't picked up, and one that barely missed the cut. And this is actually the band Nest with, I believe, their second album, Endeavors. This is a housecore records band. So, Phil Anselmo's record label. Very much a hardcore band, but they get a bit sludgy here. They get a bit straightforward and, pissed off in a kind of a sludge way. But at the same time, they have these like 2-minute songs that really do a good job of keeping your attention. And this whole thing is only 20 minutes long. So, yeah, definitely had fun. And I'm going to try to give some ratings too to these, because I love rating stuff. I'm a fucking nerd. I enjoy doing my, out of 10 rating scale. And for me, this is probably like closer to a 7 out of 10. Like it's fun, but it's nothing to write home about. And really, one of the main reasons why it kind of clicked with me was because it's just so easy to listen to. And I actually saw these guys open up for Down when they played a local show here in New Orleans over the summer, and it kind of sold me on this band. I was able to pick this up at the concert. So number 30, Nest. Let's see. Ryan, no one else picked Skamash, however you say it. They messed up. Yeah, no Finnish neo-folk from me, Tyler. I'm sorry. I would say more old school hardcore, Mike, than modern. They definitely are not Knocked Loose or Gulp, or I probably just made that up, Gel, any of these modern hardcore bands. All right. So from there, number 29, and this is still like that 7.4, 7.5 out of 10. And this one actually made the cut for Jeff's stream. This is a debut EP from a New Orleans sludge metal band, Garguts, adequately titled No Man's Land. This is some typical New Orleans graffiti right here. You definitely see that around. This is just a great musical representation of NOLA. And that's why I love sludge metal in general. I think it's a great representation of the South through music. It's like, depraved, very much into substance abuse, very much into just loving riffs and a little bit of like blues and country swagger and a lot of attitude. So definitely check out Garguts if you are interested in like some more straightforward, pissed off like sludge metal that brings the riffs. So look for these guys maybe in the future. I hope they continue to make waves. I saw this, Ryan, that you're gonna try to do this. So I mean, we're kind of in the same thing. You're just swapping out words for numbers. So I would agree. 10 is perfect. 9 fantastic. I don't know. I think there's a like, because for me 7 is great, 6 is good, 5 is decent. Well, I don't know. I'll let you do your thing. It looks good, man. Looks good. Number 28. We're moving right along, I hope. Hastronaut. Once again, sludge guy, stoner doom guy, stoner rock guy. I've got to fucking choose this. This is out on Blues Funeral. These guys are a Washington-based band, and yeah, this is, just look at that album cover. This is like everything I would want from a sludge band. It's like it was created for me, basically engineered in a lab, and that might be why this is a little bit lower on the list. Like, this is still about a 7.8 out of 10 for me, and I think it's because they don't really find their own sound. They're very much doing a little bit of everyone else. Like, all of a sudden, here is the like almost like stoner funeral doom track that sounds like Yob, and then over here is like the more stoner rock, like Nebula style track, and over here is the Windhand tribute. So it's like all this stuff is just kind of compiled together without much of a personality for Astronaut. But still, I think it's a great start for this band, and I'm a sucker for everything I just said, so there's no way I wasn't picking this up and putting it on my year-end list. So there we go. And I'm trying to use my handy dandy thing here to show off what we got going on. And again, can anyone hear Boris in the background, or can I turn it up a little bit? We'll try it. All right, and we got Courtney in the chat. Cheers, Courtney. Thanks for joining in. I think perfect is what you make of it. If you want there to be a perfect album, there is a perfect album. And sometimes I want a perfect album. So I have perfect albums, in my opinion. Frederick. I just showed my one thrash album, Frederick. You're gonna be pissed at me the rest of the stream, man. It's gonna be rough. Let's see. So that was number 28. So moving on to number 27, we're going with some death metal, and this is actually melodic death metal. I never thought I would say that about this band. This is Gatecreeper with Dark Superstition, and this is actually the first Gatecreeper album that I actually have enjoyed. So, like all the other stuff, it just never clicked with me. Like Deserted and the debut, it was not quite unique enough or interesting enough for me. And like I always thought they were just a bit too hardcore, but they've made some more interesting like songwriting choices here. I like the added melodies that we got going on. It definitely sounds straight up goth at times, straight up In Flames at times, and straight up Paradise Lost at times. It's cool. And then all the while you've got what is it, Chase is the vocalist? Yeah, Chase over top just doing his obituary shouting, which that kind of gets old a little bit, So This one does not quite hit an 8 out of 10 for me. This is about like a 7.9. What did I give it down here? Yeah, this is about a 7.8 out of 10 for me. Still great stuff. If I were to mention some tracks real quick, honestly, the catchier, more melodic ones are my favorite. The Black Curtain, A Chilling Aura, Superstitious Vision, even Flesh Habit I enjoy. So, yeah, I was just kind of happy to be able to pick up a Gate Creeper album and enjoy it because, as I said, the other ones were lost on me. All right, we hearing Boris now? I agree, Rez. I agree. Uh, Devin, good to see you. I could see that opinion. For me, I don't know. I never clicked with them until this album. Number 20. Where are we at again? Oh, 26. 26. A slab of black metal that actually has been doing pretty well this year. I've been seeing a lot of people talk about it. I've been happy that it survived to the end of the year because this came out back in January and was one of the first albums to really click with me. Vamad, The Deepening. I know ooh, Jim was a fan of this one. Kellen ended up liking this. Jimmy over at Future Ruins showed this one off. Definitely happy that this one has been getting some traction and gaining some interest out there because this stuff is beautiful. It's epic. For me, it's all about the final song, The Deepening. It's that stuff. You got to go outside. You got to be out in the woods and just be wrapped up in the atmosphere. There's some cool, clean singing parts too. So when it comes to more atmospheric, like clean sounding black metal from 2024, I would definitely check out the mod. Yeah, Courtney, give it a shot. I don't know you, but I think you'll like this. It's a good album, and it wraps up in a nice like 50 minutes too. So there we go. Number 26. All right. So now let's break into the top 25 here with another band that thankfully has really made some waves this year. And I don't know, I've been a fan of this band's comeback era for the past three albums of theirs. Um, this is, of course, Borknagar and their album Fall. I will say the album that really did it for me and still is my favorite by far is Winter's Thrice. That thing is the true, you know, best album I would say. But this is a close or not, maybe not super close. I absolutely love Winter Thrice, but here I'm talking about Fall. Fall is a pretty ambitious album for Borknagar. I feel like there are some like 10-minute long songs. Most of them are at least 6 to 7 minutes long. Um, this album succeeds the most when it really reaches for those heights with the vocals and with all the instrumentation converging for like just some epic moments. My favorite is the middle section. Um, Stars Ablaze and Moon are the pinnacle of this album, the real peak, if you will. And outside of that, I do enjoy Unraveling. The one issue is some of it is a little hokey for me. Like Nordic Anthem is one that I'm still like not sure about. It's very slow and uh, yeah, a little meandering. I kind of feel that about The Wild Lingers as well. So this is not. That's why it's like kind of number 25, and this right here is right at an 8 out of 10. And I think I forgot to mention, but this is also an 8 out of 10. So now we've reached the 8 out of 10, which in my world that is, which I think probably most people would agree, that is, you're doing pretty well for yourself as a band if you're releasing 8 out of 10 albums. I will be checking out what you do in the future, and potentially considering myself a fan. So, uh, yep, Mike gets it. Frederick gets it too. I mean, I could see it. I could see it. Um, the Olden Domain. That's their second album, and I really like that one. Let's see, number 9 for Ryan. Yeah, Borknagard did well this year. They made some waves with Fall, and they deserve it because they're a band. However many albums in, like maybe a dozen, and they're still releasing quality material. It's impressive. All right, so from there, we're actually going to some digital albums that I haven't picked up yet, and it's too tough to. I'm a man on a budget. I can only buy so much, unfortunately, and it's tough to choose which love I want to pick up. So here is one that I did not choose to buy. This is some gnarly death metal from 2024, a year filled with gnarly death metal, but this one was a favorite of mine. Fucking Severe Torture, Torn from the Jaws of Death. So this was an absolute killer, kind of a comeback album, for these guys. Like, this is their first one since I believe 2010, and it's awesome. Band from the Netherlands, just really, they started out as very brutal death metal. And at this point, though, they're not quite that. We're definitely a bit closer to more traditional technical death metal. This honestly was just a great fun meat and potatoes album for me. And I always love a straightforward, just clean, blistering slab of nasty death metal. And Severe Torture did it with Torn from the Jaws of Death. So number 24. Let's look at some of these tracks right here because there's some really phenomenal songs and some great song names. I want to say opening track, The Death of Everything. It's phenomenal, really cool guitar cleans there. Hogtied and Rope. Great song name. Track 4 and track 5, Torn from the Jaws of Death and Christ Immersion, are the two best tracks on the album, especially Torn from the Jaws of Death. That's got just a chorus that will get stuck in your head. And then finally, I want to highlight Tear All the Flesh Off the Earth. That's a good closing song. All right. So I got another digital one actually for number 23. And this was a weird one for me this year. I wasn't sure how I was going to feel about it because when I first started listening to this album, I was a little disappointed. So this one was a bit of a grower. Devin, I knew you were going to appreciate the Severe Torture mention. I agree. Feasting on Blood, the debut, is awesome. Let's see. So for track 20, pick 23. Let me get my shit together. We're talking Denver. Denver was probably the most talked about city in in all of 2024 with metal releases, and for good reason. We got shit like this coming out. Sporagmos by Spectral Voice. As I was saying for a little bit, this did not click with me. I absolutely love Eroded Corridors of Unbeing, their debut, and this album was not it. That one had like this disembowelment vibe where it was so dark and cavernous and would just shift on a dime with these crazy riffs, and there was a lot of individual moments and cool moments in that hooked you immediately. This one is not like that. This is like the definition of a slow burn. You've really just got to let it soak into your veins and just make you feel unsettled and uneasy, because it is an uneasy listen, really. And it's all about the atmosphere and the feel of the music. Like, the songwriting is more about creating a mood than creating like more coherent songs. I can see why people would be not fans of that, because on paper it's like, what do I need a mood for? I want, a song, and then I'll bring the mood to the song. But yeah, this is some haunting, moody stuff. And I will say it does do a good job of like sprinkling in some faster death metal moments. Um, Red Feasts condensed into one is a great track, like that does have that faster section. Track 3, Sanu Sensor, does a good job too. And track 4, Death's Now Rings in Eternity, has a really just crushing closing moments to it. So there we go. Let's check in with the chat, guys. 15 people. I'm surprised. Y'all are making me blush. Yeah, great chat so far. Yeah, man. See if you like Spectral Voice, Frederick, and yep, Denver is a fun city. I've visited it 3 times so far. It's been a blast. I'm lucky to have a buddy out there who lets me crash, and been able to make it out to the True Brewing and some of the record stores and stuff. And yeah, absolute fun place to be. All right, so that's going to be it for the digital stuff for a while. Let's get back into the physical media, because come on, it's all about physical media here. The most fun album of the year, an epic concept album if there ever was one, a true milestone for a truly impressive person who created many milestones for the sport of NASCAR. And this is I Am the Intimidator by I Am the Intimidator. And this is, of course, a concept album and band about the last 24 hours of Dale Earnhardt, who tragically crashed into a concrete wall in one of his last races. So, this is a tragic, epic story about a man, his car, and, the thirst for glory. Shake and bake, Ricky Bobby. Uh, this is a fun, weird album. I never thought I would actually click with a speed metal album about NASCAR, because I'm not a NASCAR fan, but I am, I guess, a speed metal fan, and I am a fan of the musician behind this band. Uh, it's good stuff. Oh, we got the Bio Knight in the chat. But yeah, absolute blast, and the vocals are really impressive too. Like he's got this epic um, falsetto, but then he can also, actually scream and do almost these Chemist gruff style harsh vocals, which I really appreciate. And I knew Tyler knew this guy, so yeah. I am the Intimidator, coming in at number 22. And I would give this is about an 8.2 out of 10 for me. So that's kind of the range we're at, an 8.2. Yeah, definitely a fun, if not the most fun album of 2024. And then this one actually missed my list on Saturday on Gas Mask's stream, because I was still waiting for it in the mail. This is Fulci, Duck Face Killings, coming in at number 21. It's Fulci. I've absolutely gone head over heels for this band. I mean, we knew it was gonna pop up on the list, and yeah, here we are. Duck Face Killings. We're just going from concept album to concept album, all about Lucio Fulci's films. This one is based on the New York Ripper, which came out in 1982. And for me, the Fulci is all about the presentation. It's a thematic event. It's not just a simple death metal album. I mean, at its core, it is. The music itself is absolutely simple, but it's about what else they add into it to help flesh out the story of the movie. Like we got, um, synth laden tracks. We've got, uh, jazz feeling track. We've got a track with rap on it, which I know is kind of controversial, and everyone mentions it no matter what in their review, even though it's like, a minute long. I ended up enjoying it because it's just good music, Um, yeah, it's really tough to name off some great tracks because with all Fulci albums, you really do have to listen to the album in its full to get the feel. And this one honestly does the concept feeling the best out of the four. I don't think it's my favorite of the Fulci material, but I think they nail that, movie feeling and thematic feeling, the most on Duckface Killings. So, yeah, number 21, Duckface Killings. This is also about an 8.2 out of 10 for me. I gotta keep forgetting to use my platform here. All right, let's see what we got going on. Uh, Frederick, I did not check out Death Racer. I got a list. Or I got something to add to my list tomorrow. Check it out, Mike. Alrighty. Cheers, Courtney. I haven't actually seen it. I'm one of those posers who's really only seen the big three Fulci films. Zombie, um, oh, Gates to Hell. I forget the other one, City of the Dead or something. All right, moving on from number 21, we're going on to number 20, and this was another album that had to be in my list. It was a requirement for Logan, the stoner doom fan, to put this album here. High on Fire, Cometh the Storm. This is just a phenomenal, tour de force for this veteran band. Just like Borknagar earlier, where I was praising them for, still putting out quality material, however many albums into their career. Same goes for High on Fire. I believe this is their 8th album, and man, how is Matt Pike still doing this? It's amazing to me. And this one is definitely benefiting from a new addition of drummer Cody from Big Business. He gets up in there and he does make this a busy album. He gets to business on fucking Cometh the Storm. Just listen to the title track, Cometh the Storm. Listen to the straightforward Motorhead sounding, the beating and tough guy. Man, what really makes this album are the big moments here. Burning Down and Comes the Storm, the two lead singles, those are phenomenal tracks, and they got me so hyped for this album when it was coming out. I'm really glad that they, were picked to be the lead-off singles for Cometh the Storm. And then track 10, Hunting Shadows, is one of those great, like, almost ballad, not quite, like it's still ripping, kind of songs, but Matt gets some crooning in on that track, and I love it. It's catchy. So we got like 3 10 out of 10 songs for me on this. It is a bit long at like an hour in length, and they could have trimmed it a little bit. Like Darker Fleece, the final closing track, doesn't do as much for me as some other songs on here. But listen, all praise for High on Fire, doing what they do in 2024. This is also right around that 8.2, or I guess 8.3, 8.4 out of 10 here. So number 20, High on Fire, Cometh the Storm. So here we go, breaking into the top 20 officially. We got some demented, slimy, squishy, gooey death metal. Pestilence. This is their, I think it's their second album, Solar Chlorex. Let me see, I actually have their Encyclopedia Metallum profile pulled up here. This is their third full-length album, actually. These guys have been prolific for only being around since 2019, really. They are from Spain, and these guys are just nasty. They're a weird mixture between like Alter Age and Portal and maybe some Blood Ass Nord. It's very interesting. Like it's got this wall of sound style to it, but at the same time, they really create these almost Blood Ass Nord style dynamics and um, just they let the album breathe a lot. So it's like Portal. If Portal would like lay off the brakes just for a little bit and let the listener breathe and enjoy some fresh air, and But of course, even in like the quieter moments, this still sounds like a album straight from some Lovecraftian nightmare. Like there's definitely a bunch of slimy Cthulhu-esque monsters on here. The ancient ones are all crawling all over this thing. So I love it. It's one of those albums where it's best enjoyed in full. So I don't really have any tracks I'm gonna be like, oh yeah, check out this one for the sheer catchiness of it. Just listen to the whole thing. One of the other great parts about it is it's only 36 minutes. So sometimes those very out there death metal albums can be too long, even at 45 minutes. So yeah, Solar Chlorix. Yep, yep. Let's see. Tyler, I'm about to surpass your ABV in a little bit, unless you want to keep trying to match it. You think you can go up to like a 9%er in a little bit? I don't know, Mikey. Check it out. Let me know if you like it or not. It's definitely sounds a bit more of that modern, OSDM style, where it is a little bit more about feeling rather than substance. But I really enjoy the feeling on here. And then this is actually next up is a good accompanying album um, that for me naturally paired with this Pestilence. For number 18, I've got Ceremony of Silence with Halios. This is the sophomore effort from this Slovakian band, and I was immediately blown away with this. And this is scratching a similar itch for death metal that Pestilence is, where like I would typically go to like an Ulcerate or a Mitochondrion style band to get this feeling, but for whatever reason, I didn't click with either of those albums that they released this year. Ulcerate's Cutting the Throat of God, and I don't know, whatever that long fucking Mitochondrion album was. Um, oh, you're watching from Target? Cheers. That's what I would be doing in Target too. But no, this was a more just straightforward and direct. Also, like a 35-minute long album. It didn't beat around the bush. It went straight for it, like with the songwriting and with like these epic moments that you would go to Ulcerate and Gorguts and stuff for, and but it didn't make you work for it as much as some of these other bands. And I guess I'm saying I'm lazy because I enjoy just being able to sit down and within the first minute, I'm like, whoa, look at that crazy, pinched harmonic section. Whoa, look at that crazy, the cool double bass and the technical wizardry everywhere. So I just love the immediacy of this album. And there's definitely some songs I highly recommend you guys check out. Check out track 3, Moon Vessel. Please, it just opens with this epic, grandiose, like clean guitar line before diving into the chaos, which I love. Also, Light Runs Through Light is a great track too. So, yeah, coming in at number, what did I say? 18. Ceremony of Silence, Helios, and this is a 8.4 out of 10. I'm almost at Tyler's beer percentage. Let's see, moving to number 16. We're sticking with the death metal theme here. Uh, one more stroll. Sticking with the death metal theme. And this was actually my favorite debut album of 2024. And this is from a New Jersey band, which I believe features a ex-YouTuber. Ooh, the Monk guy. Fuck, what was his name? Guttural Monk. That was it. Guttural Monk, I believe, is in this band. We're talking Trog with Horrors Beyond. This came out on Frozen Screams, I think. It also came with a trading card, which I'm going to show off real quick. Oh, there we go. Pretty fucking cool. Yeah, Trog is just, it's just death metal, pure and simple. And they're not trying to be any one style of death metal. They're just doing it all, and all of it is fun. There's some more like progressive leaning tracks. There's some more straightforward leaning tracks. It does feel like the songwriting feels very 90s, but then at the same time, you can definitely tell it's from the modern era, looking back and, paying tribute while still being unique. Like the final song, Ontological Shock, is just a tour de force of 90s style, but then it closes with these synths and these epic riffs and just really beautifully. So if you're looking for something straightforward but also kind of adventurous and like hella fun, check out Trog Horrors Beyond, coming in at number 17. Yes, and this is a 8.6 out of 10. Boom. See if you can get that in a beer, Tyler. All right. Top 15. Look at this. I think we're doing good. My goal is, as I said, is to make this an hour and a half. And if we're already at, the top 15 at 47 minutes in, I'm happy. So number 15, or no, number 16. Fuck. I'm not happy. Number 16, Inter Arma, New Heaven. This is a weird album right here. This is a bizarre, kind of out there. Listen, not out there because of all these different influences. Like Inter Arma already had a lot of different influences. It's just kind of out there in how they wrote this album. Like the pacing of it is all thrown off. It goes from this Portal style opening section where it's just death metal. Like it feels like death metal, but death metal mixed in the wrong way. Like it's all kind of like skronky and very bass heavy, and the guitars are kind of buried and the vocals are just miles above everything. And then it goes into like Americana and like, goth and like post-punk kind of feeling stuff. Like at the drop of a hat from track to track. And then as the album progresses, it gets gradually more cohesive. Like these two opposite styles start to blend together before it finally closes with just a straight up like Americana track, Forest Service Road Blues. And that probably has some of my favorite lyrics of the year on it. It's just a very downtrodden working man song about some dude digging his own grave. I feel that from time to time. Yeah, I'm a big fan of Inter Arma. Is this the best stuff that they've ever done? No. Is it a unique addition to their catalog? Absolutely. And thankfully, I have used it to summon Mr. Warrior James. Cheers. Yes, his album of the year. Yeah, it's an interesting one for me, and one I will revisit, and one I'm happy to own. This is definitely an 8.6 out of 10 for me. Like, I can see some flaws, but at the same time, I kind of enjoy them for what they are. So, there we go. Inter Arma, New Heaven. Now we're breaking into the top 15. God. And Courtney is right. The that was the name of their originally. They've released one other EP beforehand, which was like choking on vomit, or I don't know. There was vomit involved. Is all I know. But let me get a sip of beer. I do. Cheers, James. Happy for you to join, man. Let's see. We got 15 more picks. We're right at the halfway point. I'm still going for being done at an hour and a half. Let's see. So number 15. This was one of the biggest death metal albums of the year, and it's been talked about a bunch in these streams, which I'm happy, and I'm happy to do it again, one more time. Brodequin, Harbinger of Woe. 30 minutes of just nonstop, blistering, pulverizing, brutal death metal out of Knoxville, Tennessee. This stuff is just crushing. It's got one goal, and that's to torture you the medieval way. And yeah, they certainly seem like they're doing pretty good. And this is definitely a triumph for Brodequin, like to come back after this many years and sound so refreshed and potentially releasing their best material ever. I'm still not fully familiar with their catalog, but this is definitely the best that I've heard from it. And yeah, I think this will be a standout from 2024 for years to come. And once again, this is one of those albums where like individual songs don't stand out as much as just the feeling of the album as it's just pulverizing you. This is actually I was listening to this earlier today before getting started with this stream. So the tracks that I do remember though, track 3, Therasania, some really cool choral elements on that. 7 Nails and Vriden's Dog has this like really just cool riff that is just sounds like a nail hammering into your skull, basically. And then, of course, the best song on the track is the closing title song, Harbinger of Woe. And yeah, it's just absolutely brutal, and it ends perfectly with like these sound bites of this priest or someone reading about, how the best way to kill millions is through religion, and describing torture techniques and crucifixions and all kind of shit. It's awesome. So yeah, the album, I mean, Brodequin, Rhinepest. I don't even know how to say your name, man. Rhinepest. Good to see you, dude. Another Discordian in the chat. I'm saving that for the top 5, Frederick. My 5-finger death punch pool will be number 3 or 2. We'll see when we get there. Damn it, James. You spoiled it. I was trying to hide that till the very end. Motley Crue, Canceled, is my favorite of the year. Oh, well. Now that the cat's out of the bag, let me just get on with the rest. Number 14. Speaking of medieval, Chained to the Bottom of the Ocean. If you're a Thou fan, you recognize this from their song Fucking Chained to the Bottom of the Ocean. So I've been following this band kind of since their beginning, or at least like their second or third EP. And they've been fun to follow. Like they've started very much in the footsteps of Thou, not really doing much of their own thing, but they're really starting to venture out a little bit. Like, I don't think Thou has gotten as straightforward and aggressive and just pissed off as Chained is on this album. Sisyphean Cruelty, if I didn't mention it. So, yeah, this one is killer, and it's an interesting switch up for them. Like the previous album was an hour and some change, like an hour and 10 minutes. And yo, Marty, I think I mentioned, well, I was kind of throwing shit together and seeing what happened, but I knew this was a possibility. I'm just trying to get it over with, you know. We're at this is pick number 14 for me. Chain to the Bottom of the Ocean. You get to hear me talk about this. If you guys watched both the gas mask and hand grenades and Metallurgy stream, this is the third time I've talked about all this stuff. So sorry in advance. Um, yeah, this is like a hammer to the skull, hammer smashed skull, and it just repeats the whole time for the whole duration of this 35-minute album. And I think that's why I like it so much. Like they cut down their previous material and just streamlined it into a almost more hardcore tinged effort. And at the same time, there's some like tremolo black metal riffs in here that I highly recommend. Unfit for Human Life, track 2. Please check that out. And then the final track on here, One Last Dream, has some crushing riffs that just wrap everything up. It's absolutely beautiful. And since we got some new faces, I'm going to make this announcement again. The catchy music we're listening to in the background is the hour-long drone track, Absolute Go by Boris. It's fun stuff, huh? All right. Let's see. So from there, we're going to... That's why Sleep's there, man. To put you to sleep. That's what I listen to it for. All right. From there, we're going to number 13. Lucky number 13, going with one of my most fucked up albums of the year, Full of Hell, Coagulated Bliss. I have loved watching Full of Hell just, grow as a band and change over the years, because they really have. And this is actually my favorite album from them in some time. Probably since Trumpeting Ecstasy, which came out back in 2017 on, I want to say Southern Lord or Profound Lord, one of those labels. If you do Frederick, do not listen to Absolute Go. There's no thrash in here. Listen to like Pink or Heavy Rocks or something. I knew people would love the. It's just literally one guitar tone right now. It's cool for this kind of mood. Yeah, Coagulated Bliss. What a weird album, and I think that's why I like it as much as I do. It sounds like they're trying to do different things, and they're just grabbing at stuff, grabbing at ideas. They're like a noise rock element over here, some like harsh noise over there, a little bit of saxophone and Jacob Bannon from Converge over here, and it just all adds up to be a interesting album overall and very entertaining. And truthfully, as I said, it blows their last album, Garden of Burning Apparitions, out of the water, in my opinion. My favorite track on here, track 6, Bleeding Horizon. That is just like an epic, like paint peeling kind of song. I love it. But there's also some crazy like acid grind moments on here too, in true Full of Hell fashion. So they do not disappoint. And the artwork is just as schizo as the music. So great representation all around. Let's see. So from there, number 13, I believe we're going back to the realm of digital media, because I have not been able to find this album for anything that I actually want to pay money for, unfortunately. And this is a great album. It really sucks that I haven't been able to find this for an affordable amount. But I'm talking like, $30 for a CD, $50 for the record. I'm not paying that, unfortunately. And this actually was a band that we just discussed on Heavy Metallurgy, and it ended up on Jim's list. This is the latest album from Altar of Oblivion, In the Cesspit of Divine Decay. Yeah, I definitely fully dove into Altar of Oblivion this year. Like I had known their debut, Sinews of Anguish, for a while now, but it was great to finally kind of explore the rest of their discography. And this might be the best thing they've done. We're getting up to an 8.8 out of 10 here on my rating scale. Oh, my Boris album just finished at an hour and 5 minutes. Oh, we'll see if it keeps going. All right. Where was I? Yeah, this is more epic, like heavy metal than it is epic doom metal. And kind of love it for that. It's got some very catchy songs in here, very great songwriting, and some cool heavy metal riffs. Like if you are a fan of heavy metal as a genre, you should check this out just as much as if you're a fan of doom metal as a genre. And once again, that Paolo Giardi artwork is phenomenal. I think it's cool as hell. It fits the World War One vibe that they got going on. Yeah, Father Time over here, Angel of Death in the background, awesome stuff. So yeah, number 12, Altar of Oblivion. Let's highlight some tracks real quick. The Fallacy, it's a great song. The Night They Came might be their most driving and heavy metal track on the album. I would check that out if you want. It's got a great chorus too. Silent Pain is also right up there. So I mean, they've got some heavy metal anthems that they were not able to write on their debut that are on display here. But then they still close with the more doom-laden In the Cesspit of Divine Decay. So, great stuff. All right, from there, we're going to, let's see, number 11. First, I'm checking with the chat here. I'm not quite there, Frederick, man. I will stick with Spotify, unfortunately, and that's what I did with the Altar of Oblivion. I do regret it a little bit, but yeah, I'm able to buy like 3 other CDs for the price of 1 LP or 2 LPs for the price of 1. So, yep, Ryan's got it. Yep, Four Phantoms, also another great album cover. Paolo Giardi is a beast and extremely prolific. I don't know how he does it. So number 11, we're going with Thorn. This is their new album, Repercussions of the Self. This is their 3rd full-length album, and this is their first one not on Gilead Media. So I found these guys out with their debut on Gilead, Departure of Consciousness, which is just probably one of the heaviest sounding albums I've ever heard. I would really recommend checking that out. This one is not quite as heavy, but it might be better in like the songwriting department. It's a lot more dynamic, a lot more emotionally heavy, if that makes sense. They really get these crazy, almost funeral doom style marching going with all these other elements going over top. They have a female singer who, she doesn't sing, but she like croons / yells, and it's haunting stuff. Really, really cool. And somehow the best tracks on here are almost like the interludes. Hela's Choir and Anamnesis are just cool interludes that explore different sections of foreign sound that they wouldn't normally do on like a 10-minute long track. But yeah, definitely recommend Repercussions of the Self. So coming in at number 11. Putting that on the display. All right. Marty's exactly right. Why would I spend $50 when I could buy 400 CDs at Goodwill? I mean, they're all Bette Midler, but you know what you're going to do. All right. Top 10. Look at this. An hour and a half. I'm going to make it. We're going to be done in an hour and a half. Pyron. Exhaust. This was my work anthem. Like, regular work, yard work, doing the dishes work, cleaning litter boxes work. Whenever I was feeling just burnt out and like just tired, you put this thing on. It wouldn't really help with that feeling, but it make you feel crazy at the same time, and that would somehow motivate you. I don't know. This is just nasty. This is disturbing. It's all over the place. It's I've heard people describe it a ton of different ways. This is one of those bands that could really be a couple different genres. They're kind of tagged as death metal, but truthfully, if you like really listen to it, it could be noise rock or mathcore or you know, it probably mathcore is the closest. Like this is like a modern incarnation of botch or something like that at this point. But there are some true death metal moments on here and some true like off-putting, unsane kind of moments on here. Unsane the band, if I have to specify. Strange Pains is a great song. My favorite track is actually Out of Gas. That's where it's this guy saying he's behind the wheel of the car and he's got no other way out but the pavement. And I don't know if that's not burnout. I don't know what is. Yeah, Pyron doing some great stuff from the beautiful city of New York, and they do a great job of representing it with their crazy off the wall, just fucking tired and burnt out music. It's awesome. So, yeah, death metal that sounds like shards of glass going into your ear holes when you listen to it. So, yep, knew James would like this one, and yeah, so you're not out of gas, Frederick. Frederick is full of gas and ready for the open road. All right, let's see. Um, Number 9. Oh, this was a fun discovery for me. A new band for the Metal and Beer Snob, but a band that has actually been around for over 30 years. I'm talking about Sear Bliss with Heavenly Down. This band blew me away when I first heard it. I'm like, how has no one done this in this style before? It's epic, like symphonic black metal mixed with melodic black metal mixed with like a little bit of death metal, but the symphonic elements are brass instead of these over the top kind of cheesy synths and orchestral elements that really got old, by a certain year, 2005. This just sounds fresh and exciting and interesting, and it makes this band sound larger than life. Sorry, I got a beer quota tonight too. I'm trying to hit. That would be 2. Frederick, I do like sax. I I do enjoy sax. Like the band White Ward, I enjoy that. We discussed Howling Sycamore on Album Club, and I actually enjoyed the sax parts. So there you go. But now back to Sear Bliss. Heavenly Down is just a really beautiful album. It's quite breathtaking, and all these different elements that I feel like wouldn't work in the realm of black metal absolutely do on here. The riff writing is great, but then when you add like a little bit of some brass into the riff, it picks it up and it sounds larger than life. Track 1, Infinite Grays, phenomenal. Um, Heavenly Down, great song. Forgotten Deities is almost like this ambient track, which I think works perfectly as like a little bit of a break from the material. And then when it gets to the closing 2 tracks of Chasm and Feathers and Ashes, we get to some clean singing, which actually works and really is quite epic. So yeah, yeah, because they've been around for decades, Frederick. Man, Tyler, I gotta listen to basically the rest of their discography because I was absolutely blown away by this. Nick, give this album a try. That's all I'm gonna say. You might like the horns on this thing because it blew me away and I wasn't expecting it to. So, number 9, Sear Bliss. Excuse me while I enjoy my PBR for a little bit. Yeah. Yep. Tastes like hipsters. All right. Let's see where we at. Pick number 8. Oh, yeah, this is a good one. Oryx, Primordial Sky. Pulverizing, punishing doom metal. In the style of like Yob, Neurosis, Primitive Man. And of course, they're out of Denver, Colorado. Courtney, if you're still here, do you know Oryx? Because these guys are your neighbors. And fuck, they're awesome. And this album is awesome. I've been checking out their previous material, and it easily stacks up as well. This is still, I think, the favorite thing that I've heard from them. This is the heaviest album I've heard this year. This is one of those that it makes you feel like an ant. And like there's these, sky cities or entities or name whatever, mythological, fantasy being comes into your mind. Something that just makes all of humanity feel small. This is that album. This does that. It just, monolithically just crushes. The riffs are slow and pulverizing, but then when they pick up to actually move, God, it feels like the earth is shaking. It's great stuff. And it took me a little bit to click with it. And honestly, what made me figure out this band was comparing them to Primitive Man, because Primitive Man does focus on just these long, slow sections before jumping into like a fast, like almost punky kind of section, in a similar way that Oryx does on Primordial Sky. The one difference is that Primitive Man is trying to drown you in self-hatred and just toxic energy, and Oryx is almost trying to release you from it and trying to demonstrate how beautiful the world is. I don't know. It's great. It's great stuff. Uh, check out Oryx, James. And Onyx was always my favorite Pokemon back in the day. I don't know if that's what you're referencing, but yeah, number 8, and we're getting up towards this is an 8.8 out of 10 for me. Sear Bliss was still an 8.6. We're getting up to an 8.8. This is just mammoth and phenomenal. There we go. Maybe their next album, I'll mention it to them. 8-track. Let's see, from number 8, we're going to number 7. And this was an album that I didn't mention on the Heavy Metallurgy because it's not quite metal. I do believe I mentioned it on Gas Mask and Hand Grenade stream, but that's when I was getting a little fuzzy. So, Monkey 3 with Welcome to the Machine. This is some psych rock, some space psych, progressive rock, but it gets extremely heavy and it's instrumental, which I absolutely love. I do really enjoy a good instrumental album from time to time. And for 2024, Welcome to the Machine was that album. It's very comfortable, stepping back and like being basically Pink Floyd, except a bit heavier. But then at the same time, it's also comfortable bringing a metal riff into the front of their sound and letting that lead the charge. My favorite song on this thing is track 4, Rackman. It's awesome. That's the one that has the riff that you're just headbanging the whole time. You can be driving and before you know it, you're going like 15, 20 over the speed limit. You know, shit happens. Uh, but no, most of the album, the tenor of it is the feel of a more psych space tinged, you know, Wish You Were Here, Pink Floyd, except a bit heavier, which I enjoyed. So I am happy that I was able to get this album in, that it clicked with me. Because this is my first listen with Monkey 3, and they're one of those bands that actually has a pretty big discography, pretty well known. So here we go. Pick number 7. Pick number 6, we're going with they were a death metal band. I really don't know what to call them now. They're like a progressive death rock band. I don't know. They're whatever they are. They're a whole lot of fun, and have been one of my favorite bands to follow of the past decade. Honestly, because I first heard these guys back in 2015, and of course I'm talking about Chapel of Disease, and this is their newest album, Echoes of Light. They honestly have one of the coolest sounds of a band that I've heard uh, that's currently running, I think, and I would describe it as a little bit of death metal in the vocals, mixed with Dire Straits at their most fun and like jam oriented. I'm talking like Sultans of Swing, except even more melodic, and then pump up that energy as much as you can, and that is Chapel of Disease. This thing is fucking awesome. Yeah. The funny part is it's not my favorite Chapel of Disease album. The album that came out previously to this one. This is the album before this one is so good. It's worth it for me to take a brief sidetrack to pull it up, so you guys can listen to it or like check it out if you can, because it is a underappreciated classic. Here, one sec. I'm pulling it up on the old archives, because this one is good, but it takes what their previous effort did and tries to make it a bit more dynamic. They bring in a little bit more clean singing and try to push it forward a bit too far, and they kind of lose what they had on this one. And as we have seen the storm, we have embraced the eye. This thing is beautiful. It was one of my top favorite albums of the year when it came out, which was 2018. So, highly recommend checking this out. But we're not talking about that album. We're talking about Echoes of Light. So, check out Echoes of Light too. It's completely worth it for the opening 3 tracks. The title track, A Death Though No Loss, which I think is one of my favorite songs of the year, and track 3, Shallow Nights, which does a good job of nailing that ballad style sound that they want, you know, while not being too ballady. The issue with this album is towards the end of it, they kind of they go too much into the clean singing and like laid back songwriting, and it doesn't really mesh with what the first half of the album was doing. It's still beautiful music, but the songwriting is just not there, and that's why this is like number 6 on my list versus higher up, because it could have been higher up if the first 3 tracks, the quality there was carried throughout the whole album. This could have been a year-end contender for sure. But still a great album, out on Van Records, by the way. All right, top 5. Let me try to rush it because I'm still trying to make my hour and a half deadline here. So for number 4, we are actually going back to digital. This is oh wait, no. Sorry, number 5. I'm skipping ahead. Number 5. Are you talking about Chapel of Disease, Mike? Think of like Tribulation if they got better instead of doing what they're currently doing. Definitely like progressive classic death metal. They're one of those hard to classify bands. All right. So my number fifth album is Nails. Every Bridge Burning. Like this thing fucking rocks. It destroys. It's 17 minutes long. It's pissed off. I dropped the CD. Caught it. It absolutely is straight for the throat, and it doesn't let up. And it actually might be my favorite Nails album so far. Out of their four, this might be my favorite, which is really saying something. I think I enjoy it the most because, unlike previous Nails albums where they try to set up the song so that there's this like really like crushing breakdown part that kind of goes a little bit too long or becomes a little bit too predictable. They take these songs and instead of like putting a just a slow breakdown in it, they make it faster, or they add this weird melody into it, or they add this like intense tough guy mosh moment. Some of their best songs are on here, dude. Imposing Will, the opening track and lead single. Give Me the Painkiller, lacking the ability to process empathy. That track is awesome. Of course, the best song is the final track, No More Rivers to Cross. That track you can just I dare you, put it on your headphones, go walking somewhere, you'll feel like the toughest guy there, no matter, who you are. I swear. You're you're going to want to fight someone. Don't do it. It's a bad idea, but you're going to want to. Yeah. Fifth favorite album of the year, Nails, Every Bridge Burning. So let's see. To each their own. All right. Moving right along for number four, my fourth pick of the year. We're going back to the realm of digital. And this is back into my stonerish roots and my favorite style of music here. We're talking this is this is something that probably only I will like, you know. What are you guys fucking doing? You're talking about electronica? I haven't been able to keep up with the chat as much, but you guys are here talking about electronica. Oh, the gig is up. That's it. No more electronica. I'm joking. I'm joking. Um, no, so this anyway. Keep talking about electronica because this next album is probably the only one that I will enjoy. Dope Smoker, Wolf's Castle. Yeah, this is just look at that. It's a fucking marijuana field with a rock in the background. Amazing album cover. This album is just a vibe. That's all. Plain and simple. It's a vibe. It really just captures just this chill enjoyment that I get from stoner rock, while at the same time bringing riffs and bringing just this atmosphere that I think is wholly unique to Dope Smoker. I've been really getting into this band this year and have ended up enjoying a lot of their albums, all themed after marijuana, of course. And the secret to this and to their sound really is repetition. They love just finding a riff and a vocal pattern and melody line and sticking with it and just hammering it into your skull in the most chilled, laid back way possible. And it works. Opening song To the Sky, phenomenal. Same Old Trip is a bit of the heavier side, but not actually quite heavy. So good. And then the final track, I Need Your Love, is beautiful, breathtaking, and just really like an airy way to end the album. So this is my obligatory, high pick, and one I would recommend if anyone out there does enjoy just stoner rock more than stoner metal or doom, because yeah, this is awesome, and this band is highly recommended from the United Kingdom of all places. All right. Dude, Courtney, of course I'm a Caius fan. I love all four Caius albums. Welcome to Sky Valley is a phenomenal album. What a masterpiece of a release. So, there we go. We got some love. They might be, Ryan. Or it could be a coincidence. I'm not sure. One of those. So there we go. We're top three. Top three. We're doing okay. My third favorite album of the year, and it's Alcest. It's in French. Le Chant de Aurora. Fuck. Marty, did you guys mention Alcest in your French stream? I still haven't fully listened to it. Hope you did. They deserve a mention. And this album absolutely deserves a mention too. My favorite album from them is Kodama. Came out in 2016. Good to hear. Like a beautiful but kind of like dark release. Very ethereal, very atmospheric melodies, but then also like perfect harsh vocals, in it. So this right here is like the perfect counterpart to Kodama, where Kodama felt actually like a dark album, actually a little sinister, like some kind of spirit or nature itself trying to come after you. This does not feel like that. This feels like it's the yin to the yang. It's the hopeful, it's the bright, it's uplifting in nature. And throughout this year, I've really revisited this album when I've needed a pick-me-up. This has actually been a personal album for me that I've, enjoyed when I've really needed something uplifting and happy in in the old ear holes versus like more I hate God style sludge, if you will. So Alcest was there for me this year, and while there are songs that do sound like ripoffs of Kodama material, there are unique tracks too. Like I'm not going to say them, but track 4 almost has this post-hardcore kind of vibe, like American football, like Midwestern emo. It's interesting. And then track 6 is also awesome. That might be the best song on the album. So, this is Boris. All right. Let's see. The last two. We made it. I thank you guys for watching. This has been great. This has been a good fun for a Thursday night, and it's right now about an hour and a half. So I'm happy here. Number 2 is the most talked about album of the year. It's been talked about, in good ways, been talked about in bad ways. Really not much in between. You either love it or you're like pissed off with it and tired of hearing about it. And I guess I'm in the first camp where I enjoy it. And this is the definition of beating a dead horse, is once again talking about Blood Incantation and Absolute Elsewhere. Oh, this is actually, I switched up. Alcest is my number 2. This is my number 3. Yeah, fuck it. Number 3 is the Absolute Elsewhere. Number 2 is Alcest. But I'm going to keep this one brief because it has been discussed so much. The reason why Absolute Elsewhere is here and why it really clicked with me, I've been following Blood Incantation since Starspawn. It's because they did it. They did what they wanted to do. I've been watching this band make these adjustments and change their styles just a little bit. And finally on here, they kind of cracked the code to get it just right. Like there's the perfect amount of Tangerine Dream, perfect amount of Pink Floyd, perfect amount of like Demilich and crazy off-the-wall death metal on here. And they nail it. And we got Arthur Risk producing, and it was recorded in Berlin. This is what I wanted this band to do, and it's just been great to watch them kind of fumble a little bit with like that EP that they did, and I enjoy the ambient album Time Wave Zero, but still, it's not this. This is what they wanted, and they achieved it. And I will say the final 5 minutes of the message is worth the price of admission alone. Some of the most epic music of the year is in that final 5 minutes of absolute elsewhere on the message. Yeah, Nick, I'm with you, man. I love Time Wave Zero. That is just a great, great vibe. All right, here we are. The final album of the year, my favorite, the number one. And I'm going to make this quick because I hear my cat screaming in the background, and he's just probably pissing everyone else off in the house. So, surprise, it's Thou. I've got to represent my Louisiana and New Orleans homeboys here. This is their new album, Umbilical. This is the most just aggressive and straightforward and emotionally heavy Thou album I've heard in a while. They definitely go for some more energy and hardcore elements in their songwriting, which, if you know Thou, you know that they are fans of the hardcore genre, and that's probably their predominant entry point into metal is through hardcore versus the other way around. I mean, you can tell, you know. I think they're just here because they also like Black Sabbath is the thing. But on Umbilical, they nail these like supremely heavy riffs with some of the most up-tempo, just adrenaline-grabbing songs ever. And some of the like catchy songs that could be straight from the 90s, and they get some Nirvana comparisons in their songwriting, and I absolutely agree. And they nail it on here, man. Like, I'm pulling out the media. As you can tell, this is the only vinyl that I bought this year. Because I went to this album release show back in June and had a chance to see them. So that's why I picked this up, and what an epic show. But it comes with a 7-inch for the lead single, appropriately titled I Feel Nothing When You Cry. What a great song too. Honestly, one I would highly recommend. And then the main song that is the best track on the album is The Promise. That thing is just an earworm, but then also has these heavy riffs that are propelling it forward. It's like if Nirvana were trying to write sludge metal. I mean, I didn't realize I wanted that. I should have. I love the Syphilis Apprentice off of In Euro, but on here they truly do it. Thou just perfectly captures their influences and who they are as a band, and puts it as one cohesive homage to, being an aging band in New Orleans and kind of questioning everything. So, and at the end of the day, just doing what they want. I don't know. Love the band. They've become one of my favorites, a top 20 favorite band of all time for me. And this album easily is one of their best and is my number one favorite album of 2024. And there you go. I'm going to say that's it. I'm going to call it there. 30 albums, hour and 34 minutes. Just barely missed that hour and a half mark I wanted. Y'all, guys, thanks for fucking watching. It was cool to have such an active chat, up near 20 people. Quick round. Cheers to Nick, James, Mike, Courtney, Frederick, Marty, Devin probably dipped a little bit ago, but hey, guys, thanks for hanging out. Yeah. Cheers to 2024, and let's hope 2025 is official. And next week, I will be doing my top 40 albums of 2024. Tune in, please. Um, cheers, guys. Have a great night and a great weekend. I'll see you when I see you.